Hey folks, it's Cody Stoffer with Playmakers Corner, here to tell you about Code Red coaching. Competing in athletics means you've lifted the weights, you've watched film, and you've got the passion. Problem is, that's what everyone else in the state has done. Perfect your game by honing in on your mental performance with Code Red coaching. Whether you are a team or an individual, Code Red coaching has the tools to create mentally solid habits and set up you or your team for success. Find Code Red Coaching at coderedcoaching.com or call 720-979-1914 to learn more today. That's coderedcoaching.com or 720-979-1914 today. Now back to the show. Hello, listeners. I am your host for this episode, Cody Stoffer here, and we are here to wrap up the 2024 high school tackle football season here on this episode, where the 3A, 4A, and 5A matchups all took place up north in Fort Collins at Canvas Stadium. That is CSU's stadium up in Fort Collins. 3A, 4A, and 5A. So let's just go ahead and get right into it with our recaps and then go from there. Now, this game in the 3A championship was between the Thompson Valley squad from Loveland as well as the Meade Mavericks here. So this is, like I said, hosted at Canvas Stadium. So let's go ahead and get right into it, where Thompson Valley wins the coin toss and actually chooses to receive the football here. And what seemed like a very bold moment here is actually going to, pay off a little bit for Thompson Valley here, as it appears that they're going to go 3 and out, especially after a false start puts them from 4th and 1 to 4th and 6. But the punt actually turns into a first down conversion with a reception from number 23 here. And that is going to give them a fresh set of downs, and they capitalize on this, just punching the ball in and in again before eventually scoring here to go up 6-0 with 8:54 left in the first quarter, but they will not convert on the PAT. Meade, on their part, does not convert here on their drive here, and so it's going to go right back to Thompson Valley here, who now has the football again, looking to try and make this a 2-score lead. Now, for Thompson Valley, they do draw a pass interference early on in this drive, and that gives them a huge gain here. Then after a pitch and a couple of other runs here, they get a first down, and they're all the way to the 15-yard line before there's going to be some stiff defense on Meade's side that will force a Thompson Valley field goal attempt and timeout with 4:21 left in the first quarter. Thompson Valley goes up 9-0 here. Meade, on their very next drive here, gains a few yards, setting up 3rd and 4 before finally Heiner scrambles for 15 yards on that 3rd down and gets a first down all the way to the 40-yard line. Another rush here sets up 2nd and 1, but an incompletion sets up 3rd and 1, and they are actually stuffed by the Thompson Valley defense here, and on 4th and 1, Meade is going to go for it, and they actually do convert on this 4th down attempt, and we'll get a fresh set of downs, but the Thompson Valley defense bounces back and forces a punt here. Thompson Valley is deep in their own territory here, and so they are just trying to get some breathing room, and eventually do, but will still have to punt regardless to Meade. Meade, for their credit here, gains a few yards and sets up a 3rd and 1, but then they're going to be stuffed here, and that's going to be a 4th and 1 where Meade will take a timeout and eventually punt to Thompson Valley. However, to respond to this, Thompson Valley, they're going to try and take a shot down the right sideline, and none other than number 10 for the Mavericks, who is Charles Baker, makes an incredible interception on the ball here and gives Meade the football right back and some momentum. Now, the momentum seems to not last for long, as they find themselves in a 3rd and 2, and a read option gets absolutely stuffed, and Thompson Valley survives the turnover and forces a Meade punt. Now, Thompson Valley gets the ball back, and they hand the ball off a few times, specifically to number 14, who is trying to grind this out and eventually picks up a first down here. Now, just a couple plays later after the first down, there is a missed handoff, and Meade recovers with the football here, and that is going to be, I want to say, number 23, Ryan St. Aubin, on the recovery here, giving Meade fresh life and a chance to try and score. Now, Meade, they run into some complications here, but then an electric play here. Meade calls play action and checks it down to number 23 to the right side, up the sideline, and into the end zone, putting Meade on the board here. The next Thompson Valley drive here, they're trying to increase that 9-7 lead that they have, and they do it once again by kind of grinding out these runs here, handing it off primarily on this drive to number 6 here, who picks up a first down over the time of a few carries. They're also utilizing their quarterback, Finley Lucas, number 6 being Joseph Urrutia, by the way, and they kind of build some breathing room here, but unfortunately, number 74 of Meade is going to get a sack here. Well, unfortunately for Thompson Valley, fortunately for Meade, and that is Hagan Williams here, and that is going to force a punt from Thompson Valley. But Meade on their first play here is going to commit a false start, and then it's going to be a tip drill here. Number 7 looks left, passes. It is deflected by C.J. James, and then it is caught in the air after being up there for a minute by Dane Gray, the linebacker, who runs ahead and scores the touchdown here. And after the PAT, it is now Thompson Valley leading 16-7 with 55 seconds left in the half. That will be the score heading into halftime here. Specifically with C.J. James getting another interception on this Meade drive. Well, I say another for the defense, but him being involved in the passing game here to take us basically to half here. Now, Thompson Valley does try something just before half here with a double pass, but they just can't quite get back to the line. So like I said, 16-7 heading into the second half. Meade does start with the ball here, and while they gain a first down after a few runs here, they eventually will get stopped here and will have to punt. Thompson Valley gets the ball on their own 22-yard line. They get a pitch that gains 7 yards and then eventually get another big gain here, getting a setup here to get a first down. But a couple of holding penalties and delay of games pushes them back. Meade here responds with penalties of their own here. And while they do eventually pick up some yards with a throwback play to St. Aubin, it is flagged for holding, and so this drive kind of stalls out and they will have to punt. Thompson Valley here, getting the ball once again, will look and will rush 3 consecutive times, eventually getting a first down here, but the next set of downs does not treat them as kindly, and they will have to punt here. Now for Meade here, they get 11 yards on the very first play, but a flag will offset penalties. A flag on both squads will offset penalties and result in no real gain. Now, Meade, still trying to drive here, will take us down to the end of the third quarter here, facing 2nd and 15 down by 9 points. Now, they do end up losing a couple yards and face down 3rd and 17, but in a miraculous series of events here, Heiner does find number 25, it looks like here, Griffin Crutcheville, I want to say, down the seam for 29 yards and a first down. Now, a false start pushes them back to 1st and 15, but on the very next play, Heiner, in an electric effort here, shakes off a defender rolling right and then throws back across the field to Noah Vroman, who makes the touchdown catch and makes it a 16-14 game with 10 and a half minutes left here. Meade is feeling the momentum here, and they force a 3-and-out from Thompson Valley and get the ball on the 32-yard line going in. And feeling themselves here, they have a 4-yard rush on the very first down, but the Thompson Valley defense starts to hatch them down, and eventually they're facing a 4th and 7 with 8 minutes to go in this ball game. Meade burns a timeout just to call a fake field goal attempt, and yeah, that's obviously not going to work against a team like Thompson Valley with that many yards to go, and so Thompson Valley will get the ball back. The Meade defense is trying to hold on here, and things get really intense when Dresden Spindlove sacks the quarterback here and fumbles the ball, but it rolls out of bounds, and Thompson Valley at least gets to punt. Now, on this very next drive here, Meade is trying to force an issue here, but Thompson Valley here does force a fumble here. That was number 3 who punched the ball out, being listed as Garrick Hendrickson, and that was number 14, Tristan Hill, who recovered that fumble here and gave them the football right back. However, Thompson Valley tries to go up in the air again, and Meade, number 10, Charles Baker, makes another spectacular interception and gives Meade the ball back with momentum down on the 35-yard line. They have an incompletion to start, but then they get another pass to Roman to the right side that gets a first down. They then get another first down on a rush, but an incompletion and a short run sets up 3rd and 4 here, where Meade will try and run the ball here with St. Aubin and set up 4th and 1. They will take a timeout on 4th and 1 here and power ahead for a first down just barely to the 30-yard line. The Thompson Valley defense, with the state championship on the line, however, does force a couple of incompletions and a TFL, and Thompson Valley and Meade exchange a handful of timeouts, but unfortunately, on a throwback play on 4th down, Thompson Valley snuffs it out and takes a knee to claim the 3A 2024 state championship. Final score being Thompson Valley 16, Meade 14. Now, in the very next state championship, we got the Broomfield Eagles, who came all the way up here. And after finding themselves down 12-0, just before the end of the first quarter here, they are going to try and string together a drive here. And while it's looking quite ill for a second here, we do have Darian Jackson, who finds number 5, Elliott Less, for a gain of 9 here and collecting a first down. Just a couple plays later, C.T. Worley gets the football here, a toss right, and gains 17 yards here to push them all the way inside of the red zone here. And on the very next play, Darian Jackson passes to Elliott Less, and this pass goes all the way as he weaves and bobs and finds himself in the end zone for a 16-yard touchdown and closes that gap 7-12. Now, while the Broomfield defense does crack under this here and punt again, they will get the ball back just before halftime, now down 28-7, and will try and get something going here, starting with a Jackson scramble left that goes out of bounds and gains 12 yards for a first down. He's going to, only a couple plays later, find Mason Smiley, who gains 11 yards and helps get this almost to midfield. There's going to be another deep pass here, this time to Mikhail Benner, and he gains a ton of yards heading towards the right sideline and flips field position all the way into the opposing red zone here. Jackson scrambles left and gets out of bounds with a gain of about 6. And then on the very next play, finds Mikhail Benner at the pylon for a 10-yard touchdown, closing the gap 14-28 just before halftime. Broomfield, on their opening drive, starts off on their own 39-yard line with a rush of 4 yards, courtesy of Colin Torres here, solid tailback here. They then run a toss left, this time to Elliott Less, who gains a few yards here and a first down. Now they're facing a third down here just a couple plays later, but Torres here runs up the middle and gains 10 yards and a first down into the opposing territory. Jackson here scrambles left up the sideline and gains 11 yards and another first down, stringing together a couple of nice plays. But eventually they are facing third down here, where they toss it to Elliott Less right, who goes all the way for an 18-yard touchdown, and now they have closed the gap 21-28. The defense forces a punt here, and on the very next Broomfield drive here, they get some serious benefit here as Mason Smiley on third down catches a huge pass over the middle for a gain of 17 yards. There's also a huge run by number 22, Joseph Larson, another tailback here, who breaks left and gains 34 yards. They like his formula and hand it off to him again and gain 6 yards, getting into the red zone for Broomfield. There's then a few runs here that get into scary territory here as there is a fumble here, but fortunately they draw a pass interference here and hand it off once again to Joseph Larson here, who punches it in for a 7-yard touchdown, and Broomfield has now tied it up 28-28. The next few drives, they exchange a few punts here, except for the fact of a Broomfield miscue where they fumble and a ball goes into the end zone and the opposing team recovers and benefits from a touchback. However, the very next drive, number 9 for Broomfield recovers a fumble of the other team. That is Mikhail Benner recovering the fumble and putting Broomfield immediately on the 20-yard line going in, where you already know that it is time to punch it in here. They do run a few times as well as complete a pass to C2 Worley, who gets them inside of the 3-yard line, and that's where Jackson takes it in himself, and Broomfield takes a lead here, and this is going to be where they're able to bleed out the clock here, especially after an interception courtesy Gio Toledo here that kills the opposing team's drive and crowns Broomfield the 4A state champs with a final score of 35-28. And now the final state championship here is Cherry Creek Bruins and the Legend Titans. Let's go ahead and start off with Legend getting the ball and starting on their own 39-yard line. They hand off to Jaden Lawrence, who gains 6 yards, and eventually a stop by number 17 of Creek, Jaden Irving, does make it a 3rd down and 5 situation, but it's a play-action pass right to Reichenbanks, who gets a 1st down. Now they call a swing pass left to Reichenbanks, and he gains 7 yards, pushing them into the 40-yard line. Now they do another play here, this time for Jaden Lawrence, who does gain a 1st down. Now there's going to be an incompletion on a shot right, but when they motion Jaden Lawrence from right to left and give him a swing pass, it sets up 3rd and 6, but the play action pass left is going to be deflected, but a face mask on the Creek defense will push the Titans ahead for a 1st down inside the red zone at the 13-yard line. Legend trying to start off this opening drive with a touchdown here. Now they hand off to Reichenbanks, who gets inside to the 5-yard line, but an illegal formation call negates the gain and loses 5 yards from the line of scrimmage. They motion Lawrence left to right here and run an option where the quarterback keeps it and is tackled by 10. On 2nd and 13, they pass over the middle. This one is broken up by Aiden Kanapke here on a slant route. And then on the very next play, they call a fake swing pass and come back to Banks over the middle. The tackle is made very quickly by safety Kanapke, and Legend will have to settle for a field goal, but will take a 3-0 lead with 7 minutes and 4 seconds in the first. Now, Creek, they will start off with a fake jet handoff back left that will only gain 3 yards. They hand it off to Fox here, but there is going to be an illegal formation penalty that negates the gain and sets up 2nd and 12. And after a play action pass is incomplete, thanks to a great pass rush of Tatum O'Donnell here, it is going to be a comeback attempt here on the left side, but the wide receiver falls, and now Creek will have to punt going 3 and out. Legend is on their own 41-yard line, and they start off with an incompletion here. And after a handoff sets up 3rd and 7, there's going to be a pass sailed out of bounds, and Legend will have to punt themselves. Creek muffs the punt, but luckily recovers on their own 17-yard line. There's going to be a handoff that gains about 5 yards, and then Fox gets a 1st down before they call a swing pass left that gains a few, and then a run is met by serious resistance, courtesy of Brody Schuss and Tatum O'Donnell here, pushing them back, and with Brody Dodge getting a pass deflection at the line of scrimmage, that'll force Creek to punt themselves. The Titans will start on their own 22-yard line, and they're eventually going to complete a pass that does gain a 1st down, but that would kind of be the end of their luck, as eventually Creek will force them to punt to start the second quarter. Creek here on their own 17-yard line tries a pass here, but it is tipped by number 11 of the Legend defense. That is Champ Jones getting his hands on the ball and forcing an incompletion. Fox cuts outside on the next handoff and gets a 1st down with the ball being stripped but landing safely out of bounds. An illegal block in the back, however, undoes the gain and sets up 2nd and 12 from their 15-yard line. A deep shot right lands out of bounds. It was great coverage by Carson Flowers, just want to shout that out. And now it's 3rd and 12. They will pass right, and that is caught by Fox, who gains 5 yards, and Creek will have to punt. On the punt, it appears to be muffed and recovered by Creek, but officials have a long conversation, and it's overruled, saying that the Legend blocker was pushed into the receiver, which negates the muff, I guess. I'm not sure the exact details on that rule, but They all talked for a very long time, so I'm assuming that they came to the final conclusion, and they had quick flags this game, so I know that they were paying attention. Legend gets the ball here and a short run sets up 2nd and 7 before a pass right is deflected by Ashton Shepardson, but he roughs the quarterback on the play. Completely unnecessary and honestly kind of bush league here, and that gives Legend a new set of downs. They hand off to Lawrence, who only gains 3, and a false start eventually kind of starts to kill this drive, especially when the next pass is broken up by number 17. But on 3rd and 12 here, Legend calls a play action, and they take a shot left that is caught by Riken Banks here for the score here. That puts Legend up 10-0 with 7:57 left in the half here. Creek, looking to finally get on the board here, is looking for something, and they pass right to 14, who gets a first down to the 33-yard line. They hand off to Cromwell, number 26, who sprints up the middle all the way to the 47-yard line. There's then a toss and catch to Jeremiah Hoffman that sets up 2nd and 2, but a false start here complicates things, and an incredible Niedrenhaus tackle sets up 3rd and 5, where there's a drop, and now they will have to punt. But instead, they line up and they go for it, and they are stopped by Legend here. Legend gets the ball here, right here, and they get a handoff, and they get past midfield, but eventually, on 3rd and 5, they try a pass, and it is a drop pick, and they will get to punt, setting up Creek on the 14-yard line here. Creek here, they hand off to Landrum Hamilton, who gains 5 yards, and then to Fox up the middle, who gets a gain all the way to the 34-yard line. There is a very low pass that is reeled in by number 9, Anthony Betty here, and that puts them in a pretty good spot for a first down. There was a flag, but it was waved on the play. That's followed up with Legend saying, "Ball don't lie," and Raymond Bergner here gets a huge sack on Brady for a loss of 7. Cromwell gets a run right for about 9 yards, and on 3rd and 8, they pass right, which sets up 4th and 3, but an illegal shift actually makes it 3rd and 13, and Legend pass rush draws a hold and still gets a sack from Brody Dodge here, forcing a Creek punt. Legend ball, they get Banks involved here with a gain of 3, and then another handoff to set up 3rd and 1, and with 53 seconds remaining after 2 Creek timeouts, they call a run on 3rd down, and that is stuffed with the last timeout being called by Creek with 43 seconds. Creek, however, does not get the score here, and so it is still 10-0 heading into halftime. Now, Creek here with the ball to start the second half gets a 33-yard run from Jaden Fox shortly before the Legend Titans defense bounces back and forces a gain for nothing. They then hand off to Cromwell just a couple plays later here and get a first down. They're on the 39-yard line in, and they roll left and throw a smoke route back right to Max Levette here, who evades a tackler and gets forced out of bounds after only 3 yards. They hand off to Cromwell again, left, who gains a few, but a flag on the play has us waiting, and it's another penalty against Creek here. And now they're on the 46-yard line, and they have 17 yards to go on 3rd down. Great pressure from Brody Shush forces an incompletion, say that 5 times fast, and now it's 4th and 17, and after a delay of game call here, there is going to be a punt, and this is a terrible call by the officials. I'm just going to say it. The Creek defender had his entire bottom half in the end zone when he quote-unquote downed it on the 1-yard line, and that's probably one of the worst calls that I saw from this game, but regardless, Legend has to start with the ball from the 1-yard line, and eventually we'll have to punt from their own 3, but they safely get the punt off, and Creek will have to start on the 39-yard line. They hand off left to Jaden Fox, who gains 9 yards and is forced out of bounds by Peyton Auckland. Fox then runs right and gains first down, stopped again by Peyton Auckland here, who's flying all over the field and is honestly having a great game. They then throw right to Landrum Hamilton, who's caught, setting up 2nd and 3, before they power it up the middle to Cromwell here to the 2-yard line, and then they hand it off to again, and he leaps through the air and scores here. The PAT is blocked, but Creek is now on the board 6-10 with 5 minutes and 42 seconds left in quarter 3. Now, for Legend here, they're trying to respond and get back on the board here, increase that lead, and they call a play action pass left that gains 4 yards. They then do a motion handoff that is stuffed by number 20 of Cherry Creek, listed on the roster as Strassi Sparacco. Apologies if I am butchering that. But anyways, They then call a swing pass right that is one-handed by Reich and Banks, but the extra focus probably cost them just enough time for them to get stopped before the first down. On 4th and 2, Cherry Creek muffs again on the punt because, of course, they do. And number 25 of Legend actually recovers this. That is Thomas Crow, the senior. And now Legend has the ball with 27 yards to go into the end zone. But the first run on the new possession is a forced fumble, forced by Trevon Polk, the senior cornerback here. And then the senior outside linebacker, Ashton Shepardson, actually recovers that and gives Cherry Creek a second chance now on their own 22-yard line. They call a misdirection handoff and gain 4, but on the very next play, Niedrenhaus blows up the run, forcing 3rd and 9, and then that's immediately followed up by an incredible sack, courtesy of Brody Schuss here, having a phenomenal gain and forcing 4th and 19. After a false start, they back up 5 more yards and they punt it, but Legend muffs the punt and Creek gets another chance here, and they call a bomb right here where Jeremiah Hoffman mosses the defender, putting them at the 12-yard line, and then the next pass is absolutely smacked by Auckland nearly at the line here. But they hand it off again to Cromwell, who powers ahead and scores. And after the PAT, it is now 13-10, Creek leading for the first time all game with under 40 seconds left in quarter 3. Legend is on their own 22-yard line, and they pass left to 18 for a nice gain, but an illegal formation foils their plans, and now it's 1st and 15. There's a play-action pass to Riken for a nice gain, but an illegal man downfield confirms that it was an RPO and negates the gain. Short handoff takes us into quarter 4, and Legend will start with 2nd and 16, calling a slant left, setting up 3rd and 11. The quarterback escapes 1 sack and luckily doesn't get intercepted, setting up the Titans for a punt. Creek is on their 43-yard line, and they call a jet sweep right that is absolutely stuffed by the Titans for only 3. Then there's a great fill by numbers 7, 1, and 11. There is Aaron Olson, Peyton Auckland, and Champ Jones that prevents a first down. And on 3rd and 2, Creek calls a quarterback power, and it looks like it has enough, but it doesn't really matter as a face mask on the Legend defense is crippling and puts Creek ahead to the 32-yard line. There's a run for 6 and then a handoff powering ahead, but a couple of shoves afterwards results in some flags, unnecessary roughness on Cherry Creek, who is just being stupid, losing Creek a ton of yards, setting up 2nd and 13. 5 and 8 for Legend. That's Brody Dodge and Tatum O'Donnell snuff out the very next run, and now it's 3rd and forever for Creek. Brady throws to Casper that brings up a 4th down where Creek almost for sure has to punt, but Brady is still out there, and with a delay of game here, they do call a short punt here with Brady punting the ball, and it results in a touchback. Legends on their own 20-yard line, and they hand off to Lawrence, who's tripped up by Shepardson here, keeping the gain somewhat reasonable. They then pass left to 2, and there's a great open field tackle by number 27 of Cherry Creek here, Dwight Johnson, who then stands over Riken here, maybe for a little long, I'm not sure, no flag, and that sets up 3rd and 10, but Fairley finds a crossing Riken Banks, who bursts ahead almost to the 40-yard line and gets first down. On the next play, there's a great fill by number 50 and 10, that is Shepardson, as well as number 50 being Kane Brackney here, who fills for a TFL. They then motion 20 right to left, and they throw a screen pass left that is lateraled to Jaden Lawrence, who gets a great gain all the way to the 46-yard line, setting up 3rd and 3 with about 5 minutes to go. Fairley goes right up the middle for a first down here, and on the very next play, they take a shot left that is just overthrown here and falls incomplete. There's then a poor throw downfield on a screen that draws a very bad penalty. It's another legal man downfield on the very next play, and now we're looking at 3rd and 20, and Creek takes a timeout here with 4 minutes and 12 seconds. Fairley miraculously evades multiple tackles and sets up 4th and 7, where Creek takes another timeout with about 4 minutes to go, and when they call play action, he throws into triple coverage, and that is incomplete here, and Creek will be able to run out the rest of the clock, avenging last year's state playoff loss and being your 2024 5A state champs. We'll have a couple more segments coming up next, including Playmaker of the Week, as well as just some thoughts on the Colorado football season. But first, a word from our sponsor, Junkyard Training. Shout out to Junkyard Training, as well as Code Red Coaching, for helping make this season possible through their support. And if you want to find ways to support, please reach out to us, as we are trying to open up more avenues to amend all of the time that we put into covering these athletes. Thank you. Obviously, you want a trainer who can make you stronger and faster with the work you put in, but what about a trainer who can help you rehab and recover like the pros? Look no further than Junkyard Training, that not only offers specific strength and speed training, but also offers a plethora of recovery and rehab techniques like cryo, cupping, recovery boots, and so much more. Learn more today by visiting junkyardtraining.net or call 303 521 7594. Once again, visit junkyardtraining.net or call 303 521 7594 and get started today. And now we're back with our Playmakers of the Week, brought to you by Code Red Coaching. Be sure to visit coderedcoaching.com, where the grind to greatness starts with the mind here. Email rosecj.6599@gmail.com to get set up today, whether you're an individual athlete or performer, a team/group, or looking for professional development on your staff here. Code Red Coaching has keys, tips, and success stories to help you elevate your mental game to the next level and enhance your performance. With those who enhance their performance this week, we only have 3 of them here. And the one from 3A here might be a little bit of a surprise, but I'm going to give it to CJ James here, who had a pass deflection that led to a pick 6 and an interception on the very next drive that made sure that Meade could not close that gap, as well as just providing constant pressure, filling lanes, and ultimately just being one of the best players that we've been able to keep eyes on. He was somebody who was in running for Defensive Playmaker of the Year on the 3A level, and he backed it up in the state championship, helping lead the Eagles to a championship level performance. Congratulations to CJ James and Thompson Valley on their state championship. Now, moving on to the 4A game here, we had a couple of interesting options from Broomfield here. Guys like CT Worley, who had an incredible performance on both sides of the ball, offensively getting them into the red zone a couple times, while defensively filling a ton of lanes, holding the edge a handful of times, and just playing pretty well defensively, notching up a ton of tackles. You had Darian Jackson, who had a couple of passing touchdowns as well as a rushing touchdown. You had Mikhail Benner, who had a fumble recovery, a receiving touchdown, as well as the game-sealing reception here on a deep pass to get a first down. But we're going to end up giving it to Elliott Less here, who had a receiving touchdown, a rushing touchdown, as well as a big-time sack on defense to help guide Broomfield to a championship here. Now, while he did struggle in giving up a fumble here, I don't think that the Eagles would be in the position that they were if he was not as versatile of a player as he was, and he wasn't as physical of a player as he was, pushing through and being very physical and determined and explosive on his scores as well as his defensive efforts here to help lead Broomfield to a 4A state championship. And finally, in 5A, this was a defensive slugfest here. I know that I probably would have was considering Reich and Banks if Legend pulled it out, or Tatum O'Donnell, or Brody Schuss, or Dodge as well. There are a couple of great Titans defensively who had really good games. For the Bruins, obviously, you had Polk, who forced a fumble at a critical juncture in this game, or you had Ashton Shepardson, who was flying all over the place, but also had a really bad penalty. And yeah, ultimately, Jaden Fox, he had himself a great game going for 99 yards, but it was the freshman Elijah Cromwell here who stepped up big time when Fox's ankle was on life support here, hopping into the game for 17 carries, 102 yards, and 2 rushing touchdowns, averaging over 5 yards per carry and just being dynamic, explosive, and energizing for this Creek team, finding pay dirt and just gashing this Titans defense to a level of efficiency that we had not really seen on a consistent basis throughout the game here. So shout out to Cromwell here, your 5A Playmaker of the Week, and Cherry Creek on their 5A state championship here. So just as a refresher here, obviously these are all from the winners here. Our 3A Playmaker of the Week is CJ James. Our 4A Playmaker of the Week is Elliott Less. And our 5A Playmaker of the Week is Elijah Cromwell of TV, Broomfield, and Creek, respectively. This is once again brought to you by Code Red Coaching. Go ahead and check them out. My guy, Cody Rosenthal, you can reach him at rosecj.6599@gmail.com, and he can go ahead and get you right, so that way you can perform the way that these athletes did in the biggest game of the season and not get the yips, not, wander off the path of victory and not mentally get stumped here, whether you're an individual athlete, a high level performer, professional development for your coaching staff, or teams and groups, you can benefit from Code Red Coaching, the mental performance enhancing services from Cody Rosenthal, where the grind to greatness starts with the mind. And before I go here, I just had a couple of things that I wanted to get off my chest from the past couple of weeks here. Colorado football, I'm sorry, but this place is a flyover state. I've tried convincing myself otherwise, but the recent developments over these past couple of years, I just can't really deny it anymore, unfortunately. I think that the talent is here for that to not be true. I really do. But I think that this culture sucks. We had a 3A state champion run the wing tee and win with it. We had a 4A state runner-up that runs the wing tee and is a blatantly and abhorrently racist establishment and culture. And, while in 5A, I'd argue that these were two of the better teams, we did have Daddy's Ball at quarterback that probably cost one of these teams a state championship. And on the other end, just, the team that is probably the most talented and stacked team in the state play pretty dang sloppy and penalty-ridden football, as well as some low-level hits, honestly. Late hits, out-of-bounds hits, leading first with the head kind of stuff. And, yeah, this just sucks. I had very little to no enjoyment covering these state championships this past Saturday, and not really looking forward to talking about any of these programs. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, and so be on the lookout for great change as far as this Colorado tackle football coverage goes. And, while it does sadden me, despite our greatest efforts to turn this into a football state, sometimes you just got to accept the reality that these coaches don't want that. They're only looking out for their jobs and aren't willing to push the envelope. There are a handful that are doing the right things, and we salute you. But, yeah, this uphill battle, not really for me. It's burned out my passion on this particular coverage. And, yeah, things are going to look different heading forward. And, we're going to do our best efforts to turn this state into a flag football state for a culture that is both capable and willing. I think that the tackle football talent is capable, but if they're not willing, neither are we. So that's my short little doomer outro. I apologize to kind of end this on a sour note, but just had to get it off my chest, especially after a day where I used to be excited to cover football has turned into something that I looked forward to the absolute least in a year of coverage. So there is that. But we got plenty of more good stuff coming up for you. Look, things are going to change, but it's still going to be passionate coverage for players. And that starts with our top 5 series that's coming out, where we have incredibly detailed rubrics for our best evaluations ever. And I'm looking forward to those. We also have our 5A awards, which is a chance to recognize some of these players as well. So please stay tuned for those anywhere you listen to podcasts: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or anywhere of the sort. We're also posting these to YouTube, Playmakers Corner. Make sure to subscribe, especially as we start to move a lot of our short form content over to that platform as well. Please subscribe and turn on all of those for notifications. And you can find any of those resources through our social medias as well, at Playmakers Corner on TikTok for the time being. Not looking so good, so be ready to move with us. To Instagram at Playmakers Corner, Twitter/X at Playmaker Corner, as well as Facebook Playmakers Corner. Be sure to also check out our website that will start to be updated in the coming months. I have been your host for this episode, Cody Stauffer, signing off for the last time covering 2024 Colorado Tackle High School football. Peace.